Stop everything. Yes, right now. Because the next 20 seconds might change the way you look at every tiny copper coin you've ever ignored. Imagine this. A single South African 1-cent coin, something so small you wouldn't bend down to pick it up in a parking lot, recently stunned collectors when a rare version sold for over $1 million at auction. 1 cent turned into a millionaire maker. People walked past them, children threw them away, and yet one of them secretly carried a value that could buy a house, a car, and change an entire family's future forever. And the shocking part? These coins are still hiding in drawers, piggy banks, old tins, and forgotten pockets across South Africa and around the world. Someone watching this video right now might already have a life-changing coin without even knowing it. The South African 1-cent coin story begins in 1962, a year that quietly introduced a small piece of metal that would become one of the most talked-about collector coins decades later. It was the first year of the new decimal coinage, and the design featured the iconic Jan van Riebeeck portrait. Millions were minted, but only a tiny fraction contained minting errors, special strikes, proof conditions, or rare combinations that today make collectors fight and spend insane amounts of money. The average person sees just a reddish-brown coin, worn and forgotten, but collectors see a potential treasure, a key to completing sets, a symbol of history, and in some cases, a $1 million investment. Between 1962 and 1964, something unusual happened. The Royal Mint in Pretoria experimented with different metal compositions, dyes, and striking pressures. Some coins came out slightly lighter, others darker, a few with doubled lettering, and some with misaligned strikes. These errors were not meant to leave the mint, but somehow a handful escaped into circulation. One of those escapees, a rare 1962 proof strike 1 cent with a deep mirror finish and flawless detail, became the coin that reached the $1 million mark. The idea that a coin worth 1 cent could grow to that value sounds impossible, but the collector world thrives on rarity, condition, and story. And this tiny coin has all three. People often ask, why would anyone pay millions for something so small? The answer is simple: scarcity and desire. The rarest 1-cent coins are like diamonds, limited, beautiful, and historically significant. Imagine owning the very first perfect strike of the first decimal cent in South African history. It becomes more than metal. It becomes a piece of national identity, a museum-worthy artifact. Wealthy collectors compete, driving prices into shocking territory. The 1965 to 1970 period produced even more surprises. During this time, the mint switched metals, creating coins that toned differently, some turning bright orange or deep chocolate brown. Collectors love unusual coloration, especially when natural. Not only that, but certain dyes were used for only a few hours before being replaced, meaning only a few thousand coins, and sometimes only a few hundred, carry those tiny differences. Imagine owning a coin that only 30 people in the world have. The rarity alone makes collectors' hearts race. By the late 1970s, people stopped caring about 1-cent coins. Inflation made them almost worthless, and most were tossed aside. Kids glued them onto school projects, people hammered them into bracelet links, and many ended up buried in the ground or washed down drains. No one thought they would ever matter again. But that neglect created something unexpected: scarcity in high-grade condition. Today, collectors hunt for coins that escaped damage. A single 1971 1-cent coin, graded MS-66 or higher, can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, simply because almost none were preserved. Then came the 1980s. The South African Mint introduced new designs featuring the Cape Sparrow. The artwork was small but beautifully detailed. However, the dies used to strike the coins wore out quickly. As a result, early strike coins with sharp, crisp features became incredibly rare. If the bird's feathers appear sharp, the branches clear, and the lettering bold, the coin's value increases dramatically. One early strike from 1983, discovered in a jar of old coins, sold for tens of thousands, shocking the family who found it. They had nearly thrown it away during a house clean-out. The most dramatic turn in this coin's history came in the early 1990s. In 1990, the mint produced a very small number of proof coins for collectors, and some contained striking errors such as missing details, mirrored fields, or incorrect dies. These proof errors are now among the rarest modern South African coins. A 1991 proof with a double rim recently caused chaos at an auction when bidding skyrocketed beyond expectations. Collectors knew that only a handful existed. The winning bidder paid a price that could buy a luxury car, all for a 1-cent piece that most people would overlook. Another shock came in 1992, the final year the iconic bronze 1 cent was minted. After that, production shifted, and the old style effectively disappeared. Many people threw away their old cents, believing they were useless. That mass disposal destroyed thousands of valuable coins without anyone realizing it. Today, the final year strikes, especially those in pristine condition or proof quality, are incredibly desirable. A single 1992 proof in flawless grade recently reached eye-watering value, pushing collectors into bidding wars. What makes this story even wilder is that the most valuable examples are not locked in museums or private collections. They are still hiding. Right now, there are jars, tins, and containers filled with old coins in kitchens, closets, garages, and attics. People inherited them from grandparents. Some found them during renovations. Others received them as pocket change decades ago and never used them. Anyone watching could be sitting on a fortune without knowing it. Collectors search obsessively for specific features: double strikes, off-center strikes, missing letters, mirrored surfaces, and unusually sharp details. Even the weight matters. Some rare 1960s cents were struck on experimental planchets, making them lighter or heavier than normal. Those mistakes can multiply the value by thousands. Imagine finding a coin slightly lighter than the others and discovering it's worth the price of a new house. It sounds like a dream, but it has already happened. Stories continue to surface. A man in Cape Town found an old tobacco tin filled with coins in his late grandfather's cupboard. Inside was a pristine 1963 proof cent. He thought it might be worth a few rand. When he had it graded, the result shocked him and the collecting community. The condition was nearly flawless. Bidders fought fiercely, and the final sale reached hundreds of thousands. That man walked into the auction unsure and walked out with life-changing money. Another family in Johannesburg discovered a 1990 mint error coin in a jar they almost donated to charity. Instead, they decided to check online and realized they had something special. That coin later sold for an unbelievable price at a private sale, rumored to be above $1 million. The seller's life changed overnight, all because of a tiny coin they had ignored for years. The lesson is simple and shocking. Value hides where people least expect it. The smallest, most ignored objects can hold massive worth. Every South African 1 cent from 1962 to 1992 has potential. It could be worth nothing, or it could be the key to unimaginable wealth. That uncertainty drives collectors, treasure hunters, and curious people to search through every container they can find. Right now, someone watching this video might have one of the rarest coins in existence sitting inside a dusty box. It could be the $1 million cent. It could be the one experts have been searching for. It could be yours. And the only thing standing between you and that discovery is checking. So before you throw away old coins, before you ignore that jar in the cupboard, before you dismiss that small copper piece on the floor, remember this: 1 cent changed someone's life forever. And the next one could be yours. Part 2. About this coin's value in international market. Yes, you listen right. Listen carefully. because what I'm about to tell you will make you look at every tiny 1-cent coin with suspicion, excitement, and maybe even regret. Imagine opening an old wallet, a dusty purse, or a forgotten tin, and inside lies a coin so rare that collectors would pay over $1 million for it. Not a gold coin, not a silver bar, not a diamond. A South African 1 cent, the smallest denomination in the country's history. A coin people threw in fountains, lost under car seats, used as washers for screws, and swept into the trash without a second thought. And yet, one of those tiny pieces of bronze has already turned someone into a millionaire. That means the next one could still be out there, maybe in your house. Most people don't believe this. They think a 1-cent coin is worthless. They joke, you can't even buy a sweet with it. But collectors see something completely different. They see history. They see rarity. They see mistakes made by the mint that should never have left the factory. And they know that every year between 1962 and 1992 produced potential treasure. These coins don't just have collector value. They have emotional value, historical importance, and financial shock power that can change lives instantly. Think about how many of these coins were minted. Millions. They were everywhere. In pockets, shops, buses, schools. But something unexpected happened over time. People stopped caring. Inflation grew. Prices changed. The 1 cent became useless. Almost everyone threw them away. Parents let kids play with them. Schools used them for counting exercises. Many ended up buried in gardens, melted in accidents, or rusting in drains. The result? Out of the millions minted, only a tiny fraction survived in good condition. And from that tiny fraction, only a handful have the exact errors, proof strikes, or perfect condition that make collectors go wild. One of the most shocking facts is how rare high-grade 1962 cents truly are. When grading companies examined thousands, they found that almost none reached top quality. A single coin with flawless surfaces, sharp edges, and deep mirror shine became insanely valuable. Collectors battled over it, and the final price? Over $1 million. Imagine sitting at home, holding a coin you believe is worthless, while someone else sells the same type for a fortune. The 1960s coins are especially dangerous. Dangerous because they look ordinary. The difference between a $1 coin and a $1,000 coin can be something invisible to the casual eye. A tiny doubling on the one, a slightly off-center strike, a polished proof surface, a missing detail in the lettering. One collector once said, "The rarest coins hide in plain sight." And that is the terrifying truth. The minting process back then wasn't perfect. Dies cracked, pressures changed, metal batches varied. Workers sometimes mixed experimental planchets with regular ones. These errors created coins that should have been destroyed, but instead slipped into circulation. One such coin, a 1964 experimental strike, was found in a shoebox in Durban. The owner thought it was a normal cent. When an expert examined it, he nearly fainted. It weighed slightly less than standard, the metal tone was unusual, and the strike was razor sharp. That coin later sold for a price equal to a luxury house. Now let's move forward to the 1970s, where things became even stranger. During this decade, the mint faced economic pressure and material shortages. Some coins were struck using leftover bronze mixtures, creating unique colors. A few turned almost golden, others developed deep purple or blue tones when stored properly. Collectors adore natural toning. A beautifully toned 1970 cent recently shocked the market when it sold for tens of thousands. The buyer said he had been hunting for that coin for over 20 years. And the most unbelievable part? The seller found it in a jar that had been sitting in a garage for decades. The 1980s brought design changes, and with them, new opportunities for rarity. The Cape Sparrow design was delicate. The dies wore out quickly, producing weak strikes. Early strikes with perfect detail are nearly impossible to find. If you pick up a 1983 cent and the feathers on the bird look sharp, the eye is clear, and the branch details are crisp, you might be holding something incredibly valuable. A collector in Pretoria discovered a perfect early strike while cleaning out his father's old desk. He almost threw it away. Instead, he had it graded, and that decision earned him more money than he made in an entire year. Then the 1990s arrived, and everything changed again. The mint reduced production, and many coins were intended only for collectors. Proof sets were made in small numbers, and some contained shocking mint errors. Missing dates, double rims, incorrect dies, polished fields, these mistakes should have been caught, but a few slipped through. Today, a 1990 or 1991 proof error can reach insane prices. One rumor tells of a 1991 double strike that sold privately for over $1 million. The buyer wanted it so badly that he paid whatever it took. 1992 marked the final chapter of the bronze 1 cent. After that, the design and metal changed forever. When the switch happened, people threw away old cents in huge numbers. Banks refused them. Shops rejected them. Children played games with them. No one knew they were destroying future wealth. Thousands of coins that could have been worth fortunes ended up in landfills. That mass disposal created extreme scarcity and high-grade examples. Today, collectors search desperately for flawless 1992 proofs. One perfect example recently triggered a bidding war that stunned the coin community. The winning bidder paid a price that could buy a brand new luxury SUV for a single cent. Think about that. A coin smaller than your thumb, worth more than a car. What makes this story truly shocking is that most of the valuable coins are not in collector hands. They are still hidden. Right now, someone has a coin sitting in a tin, bag, or drawer that could change their life. People inherit coins all the time and never check them. Families clean houses and donate jars of coins to charity. Some people even throw them away without looking. Collectors know that every old coin stash has potential. That's why they buy jars of coins from estate sales, flea markets, and auctions. They search one by one, hoping to find the $1 million cent. And yes, it has happened more than once. One retired man bought a box of coins from a yard sale for a few rand. Inside was a flawless 1963 proof cent. That single coin made him rich. Another family almost donated a jar of coins to a church sale. At the last minute, someone suggested checking them first. Inside was an extremely rare 1990 mint error. They sold it privately and reportedly paid off their house and debts. This is the power of the South African 1 cent series. It teaches one shocking truth. The smallest things can hold the biggest value. Every viewer watching this right now could be sitting on wealth they don't know about. That jar in the kitchen, that box in the cupboard, that purse you haven't used in years. Any of them could contain a life-changing coin. So before you ignore a tiny cent, remember this. 1 cent has already made someone a millionaire, and the next one could be waiting for you to find it. If you want more unbelievable discoveries, hidden treasure stories, and shocking coin values, make sure you subscribe, like, and share this video. Your support helps us reveal more secrets and maybe help you find hidden wealth. Subscribe, like, and share now.